The Big 12 Saturday, January 6th recap edition of the Big 12 Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for parlays, props, game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the Hockey Gambling Podcast, brand new YouTube page. The Hockey Guys are giving away a hoodie to celebrate their new YouTube channel. Register today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/HGP. Welcome, everybody, to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. What a day. The openers in the Big 12. I'm about freaking 15 beers in, just drinking some whiskey now. I up and down the emotions of college basketball, the first full conference Saturday. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. And joining me first up, you guys know him as a walking contradiction because he was born in Provo, Utah. They're at halftime against Cincinnati Bearcats. He's got family in Ames, Iowa. They were on the short end today. He lives in Morgantown, West Virginia, and we don't even need to talk about that fucking game.
No,
he is Rambling Rush, co-host of the Ryan and Rush Show. Rush, what's up, my man? How are you? I know we texted all day, but how are you?
I'm doing. So 3-3. Hopefully BYU hits this -11. Obviously sweating out the Colts +1.5 right now, but they're driving, knock on wood right here. Did hit the Steelers -3 line. So we're doing. Hey, no matter what, love this team behind me through thick and thin.
Yeah.
So
it's a long season. It's one game, everybody.
Go Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics. Let's go, baby.
No doubt. But hey, third man in the box. You guys know him as the Big 12 guru because he is the green mowing, weed growing Big 12 guru, Troy Chewning. What's up, man? How are you, man?
I made a pretty big, instead of making blueberry muffins, I just made a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
But I used half a cup of my cannabis coconut oil. And after hitting my hockey parlay earlier at almost 21-1, I had a pretty big slice of that. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Sweating out this BYU play for the dust up day parlay. We're pretty close. We're pretty close, guys.
I was about to say we do have a January 6th.
Shout
Utah.
out Hasty, TJ Watt, racism, January 6th day sacks. He got 2 of them. You could have taken the latter too.
Hey, we're not encouraging it. We're just saying if there's an angle to make money off of it, you got to ride it. So we put together a parlay last night of January 6th. A lot of white people in the state of Utah, and we saw the late window. They'd be riled up in that game. So you look at it, where we took Utah State laying the number against Colorado State. They just fucking stormed the court. Fantastic comeback win. Dixie State, also known as Utah Tech, which is stupid that they renamed that.
That is
covered
stupid.
against Grand Canyon. And our final leg is the BYU Cougars laying 9.5 against the Cincinnati Bearcats, up 7 at the half. It's also fitting because we're the Big 12 College Experience, the final game of our leg. But let's go. Let's recap the action. First up, all right. I don't think I could have hit on this game any more accurate than what actually fucking happened. It's almost like I've seen this fucking shit for 20 years. The Jayhawks find a way 83-81. TCU continues to be a thorn in their side. The officials, we're the officials in the fog once again. Troy, thoughts on this game at the fog? The
old flagrant 4-point swing. Really made a difference in this one, huh?
So garbage,
I think it was.
man.
I think it would have been okay to call it a foul, but the shots and the ball really killed him. And then Jawan makes a pretty tough little running shot there.
Yeah,
big 4-point swing, and you just knew then that Kansas was they were gonna make sure they won that game.
Yeah, I thought I had an angle on this one with I know what you were saying, Ryan, with the whole TCU's always been a thorn in Kansas's side. But I thought I'm like, hey, this is the start Big 12 play. Kansas is going to remember that. They're going to want to make a statement. So they did not cover the game because of that. But also the angle of that we were all on that it's 8 versus 5 in the fog. I mean, just that's an angle to be on. So it just shows itself every time.
That shit's a joke. That shit is a total joke. That is not a flagrant foul. I don't care if he hit him in the fucking face. You don't call that with 90 seconds. I don't care if you're the biggest rule follower ever. Highlighting some guys in that game, Hunter Dickinson goes for 30 and 11. The Jayhawks actually out-rebounded them 40-28. Troy, what do you think of these Jayhawks going forward? So obviously they get it done in the fog. Are they vulnerable? Is this Kansas team, as good as the ones in the past as of right now?
Well, they're missing the guard play like the teams from the past. They're not really getting DeJuan to shoot the basketball as much as he probably should. And I know they were even talking about that on the broadcast. But the rebounding difference is what I had written down as the death by 1,000 cuts. Slowly but surely, Kansas was able to give themselves a couple more second chances to hang around and one and dones on the side for TCU when they did miss. So they're just right now, it's just McCullough and Dickinson, and they're kind of easier to play than you would expect without that guard that really can take over.
So Kansas's schedule's very fascinating after this game. Obviously, we don't want to overreact to the first game in Big 12. Yeah, one game in Big 12 play. But I do think we learned a couple things with this Kansas team is that old Kansas toughness. The question is still, is it there? Can these guys get down, be in a grinded out game against an even better team and not need the refs to bail out of this game? But here's where things could get interesting for Kansas and could help or hurt them. Up next, they're at UCF. Then they're against Oklahoma. And we'll talk about this Oklahoma team here. I think there's questions with them, but they did prove a lot today against Iowa State. At Oklahoma State, at West Virginia, against Cincinnati, then at Iowa State, and then they start to play their tougher schedule there. So the question's going to be is when they get to that part of the season, are these kind of going to be some warm-up games for them, and then all of a sudden Kansas takes off like they do? Or are we going to see this type of Kansas when they're in these games? And I get it. History shows that TCU's been a thorn in their side, but I'm really curious about that Oklahoma game. They should crush Central Florida at Central Florida, but
yeah,
I think that Oklahoma game is going to tell us a lot. And I think that's a week from today, next Saturday. Yes, 1:13. So we'll see then. Well, I'm not sold on this Kansas team, but I'm also not ready to sell them either. I think they're still in a little bit of a purgatory state. And like I said, the Kansas litmus is different than any other litmus. I'm comparing this to the traditional Kansas team.
They're a weird team because they play two bigs, and they haven't played two bigs forever with Adams and Dickinson, and they just don't make shots at a high clip from the perimeter. Troy, what do you think about the Frogs going forward? I was impressed. They kind of had a soft they had a very, very soft non-conference schedule. I walked away from that game impressed with the athleticism, physicality of the Frogs. How about you?
Yeah, I think they cemented their place in what we were talking about would be like the second tier. They're not quite that top tier team, but by their record, you would have wanted to put them in that second tier, but they needed to prove something. This proved plenty for me, and we've talked about it. They really have Kansas's number recently, but as long as you got Jamie Dixon over there, your team's going to have a shot in a lot of these Big 12 games that are all going to come down to 1 and 2 possessions. And I mean, if it's not for the fog, if that game's not in Kansas, this might have gone to OT, or even TCU sneaks out like a 1-point win or something again. So pretty impressed. Would like to see Kansas play better basketball, but it's still scary that they're able to win these games, and it's a two-man game for them, and they've got the warm-up games in the schedule. I guess that's why, when we saw them at plus 290 to win the regular season conference, it's still a no-brainer to just take this Jayhawks team.
Yeah.
Like I said last episode, for me, my two biggest teams where there's a question mark where I could see these teams rising to the top or falling to the bottom is Kansas State and TCU. Obviously, we'll get to Kansas State here in a second, but a win over UCF at home doesn't really move the needle for me. This TCU grinded out in the fog and need those other three officials to bring home the win for Kansas does a lot for me. So I'm definitely way more confident in this TCU team than I was 24 hours ago.
Yeah, I think it's an NCAA tournament team.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move along. Next up, before we do that, we got to hit an ad break. We are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy because you have a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long with NFL, NBA, NHL, college hoops, college football over on Underdog. Simply pick higher or lower and cash in. Troy, you got anything queued up on Underdog Fantasy?
No, I hadn't really looked yet. I know Raekwon kind of blew our underdog here because LJ Cryer really showed up. I'm sure we'll get into that, but no, nothing queued up. I probably will tweet something out before the NFL tomorrow, though, if anybody wants to hit that up and use our promo code.
Yep, at TCE SGPN, and follow at Troy Chewning to get his plays tomorrow. Watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little bit of cash over on Underdog's mobile website, UnderdogFantasy.com, and when you use that sign-up code TCE SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. All righty, let's get into this fucking game. Houston makes a fucking statement. We'll just say that. 89-55, and honestly, I don't even think it was that close. It was more of a 40-point win. Obviously, the Mountaineers were fucking god-awful today. Punch right in the mouth, never really fought back. Raekwon Battle was not good. You could tell that he was at the top of their scouting report, took him right out of the game. Houston's an elite defensive team. I was really disappointed in the Mountaineers' lack of fight. That was the main thing I took out of it. I knew Houston was going to come out ready to play, but I'm more disappointed in our side of it. Houston, I mean, nothing changes with them for me. I think they're an elite team that has a chance to go to the Final Four still, but the Mountaineers, that was very disappointing. Troy, you were on the Cougars. What was your takeaway from this?
I mean, the biggest angle for Houston is that with Kelvin Sampson as the coach, it's not a true first time in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, specifically for this basketball program, Kelvin Sampson's been here for plenty of years and coached in the Big 12 and kind of understands, there are going to be grinded out games. There are going to be week to week games. And some of these where you can, get an early punch and kind of cruise, you got to take advantage of that. And, just watching LJ Cryer at Baylor for so long, the kid can shoot, the kid can play perimeter defense. It was a really big transfer for them to get. They look a lot like the Baylor team that won the national title in terms of how intense of a defense they can play and still execute and shoot the ball efficiently on offense. They're really scary. Again, probably the reason why they're still the shortest odds to win the regular season, because I do think they're the best team in a talent standpoint.
I would agree that they're the best team from a talent standpoint. Going back to the West Virginia side of things, obviously we do the Ryan and Rush show. Check it out if you haven't subscribed to it, or the West Virginia side of things podcast that Ryan and I do. This game was, from the West Virginia side of things, a game of pickup basketball. You have a bunch of individuals out there on the court that are playing like that. There's no one's taking that extra pass. Wide open threes are being missed. None of the foundation is there. It's bad defense. It's just no one cares. At least that's the way it comes across. And I hope that changes. I hope things get better. Obviously, I'll give Houston all the credit in the world, but my problem with this West Virginia team is obviously some of it's not their fault. The reason they're playing like a bunch of individuals is when you don't have that easy non-con to kind of find your mesh and find your team, we're seeing a result to it. But it doesn't come across like they're doing it feels like they fell into a hole and it's like, well, I guess, we're kind of in this hole, everyone. We're here.
No.
And so what I'm saying is, maybe it didn't start out as their fault, maybe you're playing the number 3 team in the country and one that could win the national championship. But but I also have the question is, what are you doing to make this better? And I haven't found an answer yet, Ryan. You've been in the one in this locker room, so maybe you can answer it a little better than I have, but at least from the outside point of things, it's not good.
They fucking folded today. I mean, that was
they folded early, like they didn't even just okay, it didn't go their way for the first 5-10 minutes, and they just what was it? Like the game, it was 7-11. The scoreboard finally showed up, and they probably tried to get rid of that scoreboard on ESPN Plus to make it easier for us West Virginia fans. But and then it became like 7-16, and then it was like 7, and then after that, it was just like, well, all right, well, we tried, guys. I guess they're not going in today.
It was awful.
Still 35 minutes left in this game.
Like you said, 4 for fucking 24 from 3. It was atrocious. I don't really have, other than Pat Sumnick, I really don't have a glass half full angle. Houston moves to 14-0, and the only remaining unbeaten team in the country now, because Southern Miss upset JMU and Tennessee fucking whacked Ole Miss. So shout out to Houston. From here, Houston goes to Ames. So I'm looking forward to that one.
And another shout out, even though I lost the spread today, speaking of Houston, to the Houston Texans. I know, separate gambling podcast. Yeah. Check out the NFL gambling podcast that Ryan and J Mark do. Fantastic show. Hey, good for CJ Stroud and that Houston Texans team.
I know they're in.
Yeah, so, good for them.
Mountaineers got K-State at home on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. And
we'll see.
I don't know.
CJ Stroud was such an easy angle. The Stroud boys on January 6th, not making that bet. You're an imbecile. I mean, you go with the Texans.
It continues. All right, let's go. Next up on the dock, Baylor 75, Oklahoma State 70 in overtime. Hope you got it 5.5 like we did yesterday on the show at the Open. We win by the hook in overtime. It was the right side the entire day. This was a good game. This was back and forth. You got to give Mike Boyden credit because he always gets his guys up in Big 12 play. Now they're not that good. They're young, but they don't do what West Virginia did today. They don't fold. They at least fight. And you give Baylor credit too. 2 for 15 from 3. Find a way to get a win, 75-70. Troy, these are both your teams. Takeaways from the Bears and Cowboys going forward.
Yeah, the 2 for 15 from 3 was, it was very telling, and it's kind of why Oklahoma State got to hang around. But I was pretty happy seeing, Garrison actually commit something on the court in a positive manner to the team. He looks like he could be the best player on the team over Small when he's committed to playing the way that he did today. 6'11", big guy down there. If you can, just outwork some dudes, you're going to look significantly better. All you got to do is not get tired and commit to it. So that's good to see. Maybe it does have something to do with shape, but I was really, really happy that we got it at the 5.5, especially watching Bridges. Bridges got it at 4.5 right before the game, apparently. Dunking that ball. Yeah. Man. That was a rough one if you got that one right away. Yeah, this is going to be like the Iowa State pre-investigation. No
doubt. Raj, what'd you think of this game? This is a good game.
It was a great game. And man, I'll tell you what, these overtimes in college basketball, shifting from football betting to basketball betting is just everyone out there before Big 12 play started. Like any picks I gave in college basketball were just a mulligans. I was just warming up, feeling back the game. Man, overtime, that especially these home teams or against these teams that are favorites and they get that second win in them and it goes into overtime. Geez. But anyway, we escaped. Good thing we got it at 5.5. Yeah, Oklahoma State does what Oklahoma State does best. And I guess they tried to take this from Gundy and the football team is let's just treat the non-con like the preseason. All right, Big 12 basketball's back. Let's pretend like we care. And hey, when we are the first 4 out or the next 4 out, we'll all know why. Hey, this Oklahoma State team, good for them. Boynton does what he does best. He's at home. It's Big 12 play. It's always hard going on the road to Stillwater, and that continues here. So good for Oklahoma State staying around.
No, you're right, Rush. It is. It is hard to go on the road. And this game was a Big 12 game. This, like the like I said, man, and I know I got mocked for it by multiple people. You should not lay 20 in the Big 12. I know today Houston made a mockery of that. That's a once in a
The exception, not the rule.
Yeah, like that doesn't happen rarely ever in the Big 12. Every game is exactly like this, where Oklahoma State's not that good, Baylor's ranked, it's a dogfight, drag it out all the way to the end. So kudos to Oklahoma State for fighting. From here, Baylor, like you said, Baylor found a way. Baylor, Troy, what do you think of Baylor, man? I'm impressed that they were able to win that way, because I actually questioned their toughness, but they were able to win going 2 for 15. They got BYU at home on Tuesday.
The altercation.
Yeah,
Baptist versus Mormons.
And then on the other side, what does OK State do? They go to Lubbock, so that'll be a good test. What's your take on what's your take on Baylor? Sorry,
I was gonna say
I'm all over the place.
In some of these other league games, that last foul that Ray J. Dennis made, just a ticky-tack foul right around center court, knowing you're playing with 4 fouls in a game. And for them, he was kind of their only go-to offense late in the shot clock, because Oklahoma State was kind of defending the perimeter pretty well. I mean, the 2 for 15 wasn't just Baylor stinking, but you can't make that. You can't commit that foul when you're the most important ball handling guard on the team. If this was, even if this was TCU instead of Oklahoma State, or like Texas Tech instead of Oklahoma State, that foul loses you the game, and Texas Tech sneaks out with like a 2-point win or something like that compared to OK State. So, I'm still kind of underwhelmed by Baylor. I know that they can play better, but when is that going to come? And it's got to be that intensity on the defensive side that drives it, because that's always been the key to some of these really good Scott Drew teams, is they rotate really well and they make every single shot tough to make. Don't see that throughout a game yet. Haven't seen that consistency. So I'm still, weary of how much they want to commit.
I agree.
Impressed, but not bought.
Yeah. And Love was huge today. 17 points off the bench, like you said, Troy. He was the difference. So moving on, but before we move along, let's hit one more ad, and we're brought to you by Game Time. Rush, you're the big Game Time guy here.
Absolutely.
Talk about a little bit of Game Time action if you want some tickets, baby.
It's the best app by far for any ticket apps, and I've used them all. You're able to see your view from your seat before the game, and they have crystal clear pictures, which is great. It's seamless interface. It's by far the best ticket app. I've been using it for almost 10 years now. Basically, when it came out, I started using it. They do a good job. Obviously, I've gone to Nationals games, hung out with Troy. Ryan, we used it for the UNLV Hawaii game out in Vegas, Caps games, around Morgantown as well, of course. It's the easiest app, buy the tickets the quickest, the great customer service, and they really are just the best.
They are the best. Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download that app, create an account, code CFBX for $20 off first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX, $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. All NFL, NBA, and soccer with historical data. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users with Hall of Fame Bets to craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. Download the Hall of Fame Bets or visit HOFBets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All righty, we're back on the Big 12 college experience. Moving along in the slate, this was a hell of a basketball game. And speaking of Big 12 games, this was a Big 12 game. Oklahoma grinds it out over Iowa State 71-63. Oklahoma led the entire way. Yeah, Troy's Boomer Sooner led the entire way. Iowa State, I think, took their first lead at the 4.5 minute mark, maybe 5. But Oklahoma responded right back. This was... When I think of Big 12 basketball, this was the ideal Big 12 basketball game. Troy, your Sooners are rolling. Great win. Thoughts?
Man, can they shoot the basketball pretty well? I mean, 10 of 25 from 3. If you're going to bomb up that many and make 10 3-pointers a game, you're going to win a lot of league games in the Big 12. Yeah, I'm back on Porter Moser. All it takes is first league win of the year. We're back. They could win the regular season, baby. And honestly, that's probably not a terrible angle. They have a good enough team. If, teams get mucked up at the top, you never know. If a 13 or 14 win league team, Oklahoma could probably get there if they get a couple more bounces in their direction. But I was not prepared to see them shoot the ball the way they did, especially after the UNC kind of a letdown game. Maybe they thought, we're not that good, we got checked. No, they came right back out, and they look like a team that understands that Big 12 play really matters, and it does. You can get yourself a 3 seed by being the 5th or 6th best team in the conference.
I know this is 7 points, but that is 3 possessions. I really felt like this was more of that 3 to 5 point game than
it was
the 7, and then obviously went up to 10, and then towards the end there. This is a great game. This was your classic Big 12 game. This was the Oklahoma nut test game, as we talked about yesterday. And they succeeded, and they earned that little number right next to them. I know Iowa State was saying, hey, we should have that number next to our name. And obviously it's the Big 12. They're going to have every opportunity to get that. And I think Iowa State at Hilton against Houston that's going to be Houston's welcome to the Big 12 game. I'm already calling it now. I love Iowa State in that game, but hey, let's talk about this game more. Porter Moser. He showed that, hey, I'm still in the round in the Big 12 one more year. I don't need the SEC quite yet. And hey, this is a time to come alive in the Big 12. We know Oklahoma's home court advantage doesn't mean as much, especially with no students being there. But hey, they turned around. The energy was there. They were fired up. This kind of looked like that Oklahoma team we've seen, with Buddy Hield and, really going to the end with those against those press Virginia teams, Ryan. So they're really impressed with this Oklahoma team. Was completely wrong again about them. I guess the question that remains is, can they keep this going throughout the Big 12 season? Because like I said, we don't want to overreact anyway either.
Game.
But I mean, this was a great step for them. So, hey, nothing but props for them. Hats off.
Huge step. And Troy touched on the 10 of 25 threes that they made. They weren't just like threes where they're up 10, 15 points. Like, it was momentum changing threes that they made. It was Iowa State cuts it to 1, boom, right back at you 3. Like, they made some big fucking shots. And I midway through the game when they talked about Sister Jean called Porter Moser right before the game, I was like, fuck, we're fucked. Like they said Sister Jean called Porter Moser right before the game and wished him luck. I was like, that fucking damn nun is gonna get us again. So Sister Jean strikes again. Troy, Sooners from here go to my schedule go. It's not loading. The Boomer Sooner, 11th in the country. They go to TCU.
Going to be challenging.
That's a good game.
That's a great game.
That's a really fucking good game. That's on Wednesday. On the flip side, Iowa State's going to host Houston. Sneak peek. Russian. I don't know if Troy will join. We're probably going to be on Iowa State.
Absolutely.
Back in Hilton.
I'm betting on the best team in the country. You guys are dumb.
This is the Big 12 on the road. They got their snowflake game today. All right, so Oklahoma continues to roll. 1-0 in Big 12 play now. Iowa State drops to 0-1. Next up, I know a lot of people had this game as a potential upset, but this game was over like the West Virginia game in the first 5 minutes. Holy fuck, K-State beat the shit out of UCF. 77-52, and honestly, this wasn't that close. It was 12-0 after the first media. K-State looked like old K-State for a minute there. Troy, thoughts on this one? This is a beatdown.
This was the welcome to the Big 12 game.
Yeah.
This wasn't the Houston, West Virginia being the welcome to the Big 12 game. It was actually this one. Kansas State showed you how physical the defense can be when teams want to turn it on in the Big 12, and UCF had absolutely no answer. Very dumb, very cute play by me to take the points with UCF, but it was never anywhere near that 3.5 number. Right after tip, like as soon as the game started, that was out the window.
Yeah,
So.
it was like you watch it, you're like, this game. It was just like West Virginia. It's like this game's fucking over. Rush, how impressed did you walk away with these Wildcats today?
I mean, I don't mean this bad, but I'm really not that impressed. I mean, I think this is what should.
How bad UCF is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, they should win by this much. I mean, it's good that they didn't blow it. Like, good for them, but it still kind of goes back to like, let's see more of a body of work from Kansas State. But hey, they didn't blow it. That means something. Yeah, it's UCF's gonna, at least hopefully UCF and not West Virginia, is going to be the punching bag of the league this year. So hey, good for Kansas State. Let's see how they do. Who do they play next?
K-State. They're in Morgantown.
I'm an idiot. Yeah, they are in Morgantown. Yeah. So
I think the Mavericks are going to get them. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm taking the points in that game.
Yeah.
Dude, who knows
K-State's
with the way this season.
True. K-State's been bad on the road. It was good to see Perry back. I'm waiting to see when Glover's going to be healthy. K-State is just such a mystery team with the injuries. Perry was back today. Guessman was back today. Kaluma was really good. So, yeah. It was that was a UCF. Elliot in the chat. Elliot Money. Quez had a setback with his knees. So, I feel like he's had a setback for 5 straight weeks. So, I guess he's not ready to go. But, I mean, they're not going to rush him back to play fucking West Virginia. All right, so K-State looked good today. I mean, give them their dues, like Rush said. UCF, they're going to struggle to win any games in this league. So, they're at the basement with West Virginia. Next up, oh, man, this is a thing of beauty. The Red Raiders go in, guns up, go into Austin. Took the fight right to him. Took the fucking fight right to him. And right after our show yesterday, guys, Pop Isaacs, did you guys see that story about how he's going under an investigation with the minor? He played tonight, and he had 21 points. So I don't know what the deal is there.
He had 21 points. Great night to have 21 points. There you go. Legal drinking. No problem.
Legal drinking.
He proved it with how many points he scored. That was the plea deal. With how many points I score tomorrow was how old she told me she was. 21. We're good.
Yeah, he wasn't going to come up in the teens. Karl Malone would have scored 14 and sat on the bench for the rest of the game.
and Troy, not to be a hater, I don't think Texas is that good. The more and more I watch them. What do you think?
I mean, they didn't look that good in this game. They didn't really look like they were prepared at all to respond to any kind of a run or any kind of not necessarily like a complete haymaker to the mouth, but even just a few jabs. It looks like that's all it takes to, get them down. Max Asmus turns the ball over in really, really dumb scenarios. They're not even like good steals or intercepted passes or anything. They're just dumb turnovers. Got to cut those out. But yeah, right now I don't think Texas is that great of a team. Where do they go next?
Texas from here goes to Cincinnati.
See, that could be rough for them. No, that could be rough for them going on the road. I mean, look at Cincinnati now. Aren't they beating BYU?
They are up on BYU. Texas
not looking like a winning day, boys.
No, I can't.
Just up day parlay is taking a big hit here.
Yeah, the fucking Mormons are going to.
The feds are coming in.
Yeah, the fucking Mormons are going to ruin it at the last hour. Yeah, man. Wow. So from here, Texas Tech goes to. They got Oklahoma State coming to them. They were. Well, we'll see what happens with Cincinnati. Texas Tech's the only one to win on the road today.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Baylor. Baylor
won on the road.
Yeah.
Texas Tech won on the road and covered.
Yeah, I'm drunk. Won on the money line. Well, so Texas Tech playing some good basketball. I like this team, man. They're tough. They fucking grind. They grind you. McCasland's such a better coach than Rodney Terry, man. It's not even close. Like Rodney Terry was just sitting over there fucking clueless the whole night.
It was like I was saying the last episode is Rodney Terry stepped in, but that was Chris Beard's team last year. Like when he stepped in and they won the big, like good for them. But then you saw them blow that game to Miami, and now he's got a full season, and we're seeing his body of work. I'm not sold on him. I don't think either of us here are, and they're already off to a rough start. And that's a home game. That's a home game in the Big 12, and you're starting Big 12 play when you're rested the most against an in-state rival. You got to figure that out.
Yeah, not too many positives to look at for Texas right now. They're gonna. I mean, if Rodney Terry is any good of a coach, you'll be able to tell just by seeing a little bit of fight out of him. But Hart, I don't know how much I expect that watching them play right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. So everybody, to recap: 1-0 teams. Kansas 1-0, Houston 1-0, Baylor 1-0, Oklahoma 1-0, K-State 1-0. All chalk until the Red Raiders 1-0. Interested to see what happens with the bounce backs. And like you said, we are going live right now during the BYU game. Why is the scoreboard not up? The scoreboard went out on BYU and Cincinnati like it did with Houston. I believe
they don't want us
Cincinnati's,
to see it now.
Yeah, Cincinnati's up 5 with 7 and change to go. So this is looking like a loss. Fucking BYU. They would blow this game on their opener rush. Isn't this like fitting?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Especially because he was born in Provo, Utah. He's got family names in Iowa. He lives in Morgantown. It's going to be a terrible day.
It's been a dust up for me.
Yeah.
It's the feds are coming right in
and you got raided. You got raided by the feds.
It was bad day. What's funny is there's actually, because of the Mormon lifestyle, there's actually a lot of Mormons that are feds that work in the federal government for the FBI and stuff. So it's actually kind of fitting for BYU to be the ones to blow this.
Yep. It was fucking super so cool.
They were the ones leading it.
All right. Final segment before we get out of here, and we'll be back early next week to preview the weekday, because it's the best part about the Big 12. Weekday, Saturday. Introducing a new segment here, the final segment on the Saturday night show. Who you are buying a round for. I'll kick it off. I'm up first. I'm going to buy a beverage for Kelvin Sampson. Kelvin Sampson gets my bar tab tonight as he fucking bet me over and fucking whipped my ass today. Kelvin Sampson, the Houston Cougars get my bar tab tonight in this late window. Great job. You guys kicked our ass. And they're an elite program. They got a great culture. I'm glad they're in the Big 12. I hate that they kicked our ass, but yeah, Kelvin Sampson gets the next round from me. Troy, who are you buying a round for?
He bent you over and made you buy him a beer.
I know, it's terrible. Just fucking took it.
I think I'm going to buy a round. This is going to be an expensive one because it's 3 people, but I'm going to buy a round for the second half live Moneyline Kansas pick. I'm going to buy a round for the 3 officials that decided to call a flagrant foul.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because they saved the hedge, because I laid the points with Kansas, so I got fucked there. But it was way easy to look at that money line and turn around in the second half, just like we said you could do. And I really think that 4-point swing obviously had the biggest outcome on the game. So I'm buying beers for the refs at Fall Gallon. Might be something you hear a few times this year, to be honest.
I probably should join you and split the tab with you, because I got in on that Kansas live money line. So shout out to you 3 freaking cowards for getting us the Kansas live money line. Never in doubt, because it never is at the Fog. Rush. I know we took some candidates. Who are you going to take? Don't take Cincinnati. It's not over yet.
Oh, I am taking Cincinnati, but not for the reason you expect. They've been in Provo. It's been a dry couple of days. I don't know if a bar exists in Provo, and the fact that they
just need one.
Well, and here's the thing: people don't realize this. The altitude, alcohol hits a little harder because of the altitude as well. And I mean, hey, they're going to cover at least the 11 points that we had it on. So, hey, good for them going to Provo, showing up. It's probably been a dry couple of days. Buying a beer for Cincinnati. They've earned one. Even if they lose, even if they blow this game, they've earned one. They've been a dry place for a couple days now.
Do you think, Rush, I was actually thinking about it since I work for Hugs, and obviously it's no secret Bob Huggins likes to drink. It's no secret I like to drink. Do you think that you get a more focused group when you go to Provo? I know the altitude is crazy, but like there's no alcohol, there's no distractions. It's just plain basketball.
Well, I mean, the Michael Jordan playing the Utah Jazz, he's like, dude, there's nothing to do. And he won his championships he won the last one in Utah. The only chance that they had against him, if you watched, it wasn't the flu game. It was the bad pizza game when a bunch of Mormons thought they were going to try to be tricky and mess around with his pizza.
Try to give
according to him. Obviously, we know that wasn't the flu or pizza game. But anyway, that's a side note. I think what it is maybe you just get antsy. You just want to get out there. You want to go play, and just go back home. You're like, hey, let's just go win, get this over with, and head back. So but I will say on the reverse end of it is like being around that craziness and then being like, oh shit, all these guys are actually sober and they're this crazy. Yeah. Then it can also, it just depends. Yeah. It depends. No clearly Cincinnati's focused tonight.
I just wanted to ask you. I was curious. So shout out to Chad G with the donation. Cheers, man. Look forward to seeing you in the next show here in a couple minutes. But so we're buying rounds for Kelvin Sampson, the 3 referees at the fucking Fog today, and then the Cincinnati Bearcats because they're backed up and they're ready for a beverage. Win or lose, it don't fucking matter. All right, guys, that was fun. I'm looking forward to doing this every single Saturday. Chat. Make sure you got your notifications turned on. We are the appetizer for the college experience. Before we go live here, I'll be with Colby and Noah Beanick. The fucking cocktail napkin had a tough day. I had a fucking up and down day. I'll talk about it on the next show. But right now, 4-2 in Big 12 plays. You guys are 3-3. The fucking coin.
3-4.
It's not over yet. I was giving you 3.
We're getting 11 points. BYU's winning by 12. 11.
Yeah, hey, get this thing to overtime.
I was thinking about
then blow them out.
I was thinking about live money line betting them here, but they're 12 of 40 from 3.
No, don't do it. Cincinnati's going to go away with this game. I've seen this a million times.
They're not making enough from the perimeter for me to think they could, go on a quick 6-0 run or something like that. So. Stay away. The fucking Mormons ruined our dust up day parlay. They're not white anymore.
I told you why. A lot of them work in the government because of their clean lifestyle.
Fucking
I'm
feds.
telling you.
If you had been on the show last night, you could have talked us out of it.
I'm sorry.
It was just like January 6th. Like they had their fun, and then all of a sudden the feds fucking came in, and then the fun was over. So fucking BYU bullshit. Fucking ruined the shit. So, all right, that's enough fucking talking. January 6th ends here at 11 minutes, and BYU is ending this goddamn fucking parlay that we beautifully constructed last night after about fucking 4 or 5 whiskeys and whatever everybody was drinking. So, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes over at the College Basketball Experience. Go check out the Ryan and Rush show. Go check out Troy Chewning for his picks as well. Giving out hockey winners left and right. Rush as well on the NFL. There's no more college football. I guess we got Michigan and TCU. But any last words, guys, before we get up on out of here?
SDS championship tomorrow, too.
How ridiculous is that?
That is the stupidest fucking.
Why was it
we
not
got
today?
A couple more minutes here.
Why was it not a 1 o'clock game today?
So
why was it not Friday night?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Friday night, you make the NFL games 1 and 4 and the national championship tonight. How? Figure that out.
I don't get it.
Figure it out.
Why would you go 2 o'clock?
If you want 4 hours of commercials, 5 hours of commercials, figure that out.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Let's put we're trying to get more viewers. I'm going to ask Colby because Colby hosts the FCS Experience. We're trying to get more viewers on the FCS. I like the FCS. I've enjoyed the playoffs. It's been fun to watch. Let's put it right in the smack of NFL Week 18, the most popular sport, whether people want to admit it or not. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the thing about the FCS too, it's the new guys playing for the love of the game. Now that you can make money in Division I, absolutely. How?
It's
Some
it's
people's
so
children. I just don't. Hey, shout out to Chad G. Thanks for the $5. Actually, that could
Yes,
still
sir.
get you a solid round in Morgantown too. So,
Oh, yeah.
Morgantown
you
fighting.
$5
can get a beer
goes a
and
long
a
way.
shot for
There
$5
you
in
go.
Morgantown.
You can fighting that inflation in Morgantown. Our beer will always stay consistently priced.
No doubt. I can't wait to go to Morgantown next Saturday. I probably won't even watch the game when we play Texas, but I'll enjoy Morgantown. So, all right, guys,
Always.
we'll see you over at the College Basketball Experience here in a little bit. Make sure you're subscribed to all channels: the College Football Experience, FCS Experience, College Baseball Experience. Getting ready to kick off with Noah Beanick.
Yeah, give us some thumbs up on this video too if you're watching on YouTube.
And yours truly, everybody, the Big 12 Experience. Revving this thing up for Big 12 basketball, the best damn league in the land. See you guys in a little bit, and we are out of here.